Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are going to be talking about a very taboo subject as far as motorcycle riders are concerned, and that is quitting. When do you quit? When is a good time to quit? When is a bad time to quit? Or do we ever quit? Or are there just extenuating circumstances that kind of force our hand? Now, what brought this topic up was I was on my speed triple here recently, and a gentleman who was around the age of 30, I would say, just judging from looking at him, was saying, man, I used to ride. I don't ride anymore. And I asked him why, and he gave me a couple of reasons. And then I asked him, are you ever going to ride again? And do you miss it? So his answer to do you miss it was, man, I miss it more than you could possibly imagine. And then the other thing was, I do plan on riding again after my children are grown and gone. So there you go. I think that will kind of tell you where he is in his life and what's important to him. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that one of the things that we have to think about as a motorcycle rider is risk and what we want to do. So we're going to talk about 6 or 7 reasons of why people quit. Maybe you're going through some of these things, and maybe this will push you one way or the other. But I want you to know that it is a very personal decision. It's a decision of risk and danger and reward. It's all of that. So without any further introduction, if you would do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. Let's get going. So the number one reason, this is the number one reason, as I've spoken with people over the years of why they quit riding, was this one: accident. They've been in an accident. You know, I was in a motorcycle accident years ago that left me not severely injured, but enough injured to where I understood that when you have skin in the game, when you fall, it hurts. And when it hurts, you know, it leaves long-term damage to the body. That pain that you feel, the recovery, the sitting around the house, that sort of stuff. It's very, very frustrating. So accidents are very, very real, and they do happen. And they're called accidents for a reason. They're not on purpose, and you can only do so much to avoid them. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone away from motorcycle riding. I want you to know the more motorcycle riders we have out there, the better we are, because we're safer if there's more of us than there are of them. Now, that's just pretty much simple mathematics. But being in an accident is a big deal, so I don't want to downplay that. If you've been in an accident, the one thing that my father told me a long time ago, even with an automobile accident, was you got to get back on the horse. You have to get back on the horse. If you're in an automobile accident, my father, I remember my first automobile accident, I was 16 years of age. When I got home, he handed me the keys to his truck and he said, go for a drive. If not, there is a fear that is going to sink in with you and you're not going to be as good of a driver. So you need to get back on the road. In that way, you're not making an emotional decision. You're making a logical decision. So if you've had an accident, obviously recover, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not trying to talk you into staying into motorcycle riding and then you get in a wreck and it's all Coach Bob's fault. No, on the contrary. I'm just simply saying make a logical, not emotional decision. All right. The second one is that you know someone or knew someone who died in a motorcycle accident or who was severely injured. I think most of us, if you've been in the game for a long, long time, you know someone in that situation. Or you know someone who had a family member who died in a motorcycle accident, and they make you feel guilty. They almost coerce you into not riding. Don't allow others to make that decision for you. You have to make that decision on your own. They don't have skin in the game if they're not riding. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to them. I'm not saying, silence them and just discount everything they have to say. But you need to listen to it and then make a logical decision based on what you know about all of the situations. Most motorcycle accidents occur in the first 5 months of someone riding. For those of us who have ridden a long time, we have cut just unbelievably our potential by having experience. That alone will cut your potential for disaster. Alcohol is another huge one. We know that. Speed is another Weather and conditions are others. We've talked about these in videos exhaustively, and we'll continue to talk about them because you can never discuss these things too much to where you're a safer rider. Because when you're a safer rider, the roads are more safe. It makes a better reputation for all riders. So if you know someone who has died or you know someone who has been severely injured, I want to tell you I'm sorry that you have experienced that. I'm sorry that that's happened to someone. It is a very personal thing, and it's something that you need to think about. But that's just another reason that people quit riding. Again, we had an acquaintance of ours die in a motorcycle accident in the last year. It was very, very sad. And I look at what occurred, and as Coach Vic and I were talking before the accident occurred, we were saying it's just a matter of time. There was a lot of things going on in the way they were riding and what they were doing that we kind of felt like this is an accident waiting to happen. And sure enough, it was very catastrophic. So not judging people, not beating them up, not mentioning names, none of that, because I would never do that. It's way too painful for a family. But if you will look at accidents and seriously think about the situations that people place themselves in, a lot of times you can learn from their mistakes. That is the difference between a wise person and a smart person. A smart person will learn from their own mistakes. A wise person will learn from other people's mistakes, and that can save your life. Here's another one, and this is one that can be quite painful too, is observing an accident. I've got a buddy of mine who's a retired firefighter, and he tells me all the time of all of the accidents he's gone to. And he explains to me that I can only mitigate so much of the damage that will be done to my body with the gear that I'm wearing and the speed that I'm traveling, that telephone poles don't move and street signs don't move, and curbs certainly don't move, and sliding into an opposite direction vehicle, even though you're responsible and you're dressed for the slide. He's seen all of these things over a 25-year firefighting career, and it's tragic that what he's seen, and he just won't ride. And I don't blame him. He's a fit guy. He's a super athlete, super amazing guy. He's just like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. I've seen too much, and I can't do it. I just can't overcome it. He doesn't downplay me riding. He doesn't try to embarrass me or shame me into not riding. Normally now that he's retired, we can't have these conversations. But while he was working, I would ask him questions about these accidents. What do you think was the cause of it? That sort of stuff. And he couldn't give me personal details, but he could give me fundamental details that you would get out of a report that you could get anyway, just due to a Freedom of Information Act or public access. And he would basically say most of them, not all of them, were based on speed, obviously, inexperience, and just bad decisions. So there again, observing an accident is a very scary, traumatic event. So there again, don't downplay that stuff, but don't make an emotional decision. Make a logical decision. Here's another reason. People have started a family and they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to die and they're going to leave their children without a parent to raise them. That was the situation with the young man that I was speaking to. He's like, until my children are grown, I just don't want to put the risk out there. Although I think I'm a good rider. I think I'm safe as you can be. I'm just unwilling to put myself in that position, at least now. Maybe when they're older, but probably when they grow up and they're gone, that's when I think I'll start riding again. But he misses it. He misses it unbelievably, and that can't be downplayed. Another one is people are just tired of cars. They're tired of the cell phone thing. We've all seen it. The person looking down at the phone and they almost get you. Or they're just drifting around in the lane. They're stopping and they're starting and they're irresponsible driving. Not to say that motorcycle riders aren't irresponsible drivers too, because a lot of times we are. It's just normally when a motorcycle rider, he has less distractions as far as in the cockpit. You're not texting a whole lot while you're riding a motorcycle. It's just a little difficult to do for obvious reasons. So they get tired of that. They get tired of these big machines, not seeing them. It's scary. And you know what? I can't blame them. There are times I've said, you know what, this isn't worth it, man. That guy's going to kill somebody. He's going to kill me. So understand that one. Here's another one that is not real common, but it's more common than you would think. And that's just losing interest in motorcycle riding. How do we keep the passion with the cars and the weather and the cold and the heat and all of the maintenance fees and the insurance and all of the stuff you had and all the gear that you're constantly upgrading and replacing? It gets very, very expensive at times. It gets very, very difficult at times. It's brutally hot in the summertime. It's freezing cold in the wintertime. Tallahassee, it rains here all the time. You're going to get wet. People get tired of that. They lose interest. They go, it's not worth it. I understand it. So far, so good with me on that. Let me know where you are on that one, though, because that one I'm starting to hear a lot more of is people just losing interest. And it's normally because of inclement conditions and people they can't go out enough to where it keeps their interest in it. And I'll be doing a video here soon on how to keep your passion for motorcycle riding, because it's something that you do have to work on. And here's the last reason: age and disability. That's where, a lot of us who ride three-wheeled motorcycles or the Spyder or that sort of thing, we've transitioned out of that two-wheel world, which I'm still in the two-wheeled world aggressively, and I still ride my two-wheelers as much or even more than I do my Spyder. But when I'm just going out for a ride, an easy, relaxing ride, I'm on the Spyder. There's nothing more laid back than that. So if you're dealing with age and you're dealing with disability, there are alternatives there now that weren't there before. So there are a lot of alternatives out there. The Spyder being one of them, the Harley Tri-Glide's another. We've talked about those particular two. There are other companies out there. I'll drop a picture here or there of some different things that are available to you in the trike world. But there are options. A lot of people will laugh and go, well, the Slingshot's not a motorcycle. I would agree it's not a motorcycle. I think it's like a three-wheeled car. But you know what? The Slingshot is a viable option for someone who wants to get out and not feel like they're in just a traditional convertible car like a Miata or something like that. They want to get something that's a little more fun feeling. The Vanderhaals, that sort of stuff. I get it. You're sitting in something. You've got more back support. It's a good deal. And there are ways to get out there and ride and experience the wind in your face and to say, man, I'm living my life. So there are the reasons why most people quit riding. Now, why would we even discuss that? Why does it even matter if we're riders? Well, first, before I answer that question, I want you to put down reasons that you have heard. I'm sure there have to be some that I've failed to mention of why you have heard people have quit riding, why you may even be considering to stop riding a motorcycle. I'm interested. I really want to know. But why does this matter? I think these conversations are important because there's a lot of times that people may make a decision that they're going to regret because they see something traumatic or something sad, they just quit. And often they quit living in a lot of areas over the things that we see. Our life is a series of decisions based on stimulus and response that we make as we march our way through this crazy world. How often do you see the person that's in their 50s or 60s or 70s? They're jaded, they're angry at life, they're bitter, they're angry about their marriage, they're bitter about their children, they're unhappy with their job. You name it, you can go down the list and it's like every single aspect of their life they're angry about. And when you really take an analytical look at their life from the outside looking in, you go, you have a beautiful wife, you have healthy children, a successful career, a lovely home. You have everything, and yet you're angry. And what they've done is they've allowed tragedies, real tragedies. I'm not downplaying these tragedies. They're allowing tragedies to jade their life one step at a time. And that's the reason these conversations are so important. Don't allow, whether it's motorcycles or not, motorcycles are just one thing. It can be anything. Do your best to keep your mind where it needs to be in the world of the living. You were put here. I don't want to go off on a Bible tirade. I mean, I could. You were placed here for a purpose. I believe you were not put here. God didn't put you here to make you miserable. He didn't want you to hate your life. Don't allow the world to jade you. to make you hate your life, and to make you quit doing the things you love because you feel coerced and strong-armed into making the decision that others want you to make. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm passionate about riding. I care about people. I love life. I love God. It's awesome. Life is great. Do I have days where it's hard to get out of the bed? Yes. Do I have physical ailments? Yes, I do. Do we have problems with motorcycles and equipment and riding? Yes, we do, just like everyone else. This, what you see here, is not real world. This is the internet. The internet is not real. Don't allow people to tell you what is real and what isn't real. Step out into your front yard, meet your neighbor, love your neighbor, get out and live your life. Be outside. Get the wind in your face. Enjoy your life. Motorcycling can be a safe and integral part of that life. All right. Well, there you have it. Another one in the books. So you do me a favor. You go out this week, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, because you're not a quitter. Eat right. Take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not having fun, you are doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I'll see you on the road real soon.